Accused of handcuffing her children, starving them, and holding them captive in a laundry room are set to be brought back to Harris County tomorrow.
Duncan and Jova Terrell were found in Baton Rouge after an Amber Alert was issued in Texas. Matt Doherty in Cypress tonight with the video of the teen twins starving and begging for help. We want to alert you, the images you're about to see are difficult to watch. Matt?
Nobody could have imagined what was allegedly happening inside of this home. The kids who escaped described a life that is truly a nightmare. It's close to 5 o'clock on Tuesday morning. Home surveillance cameras show this pair of 16-year-old twins, a boy and a girl, who have just escaped. They spent more than half an hour going door to door, desperately seeking help.
You need some help?
Yes. Can you put some medicine, please?
What's wrong with you? What? What happened?
We just need someone to be right now.
No, we can't do that.
Unsure of the circumstances, nearly all of the neighbors told the twins to keep moving. At about 5:30, the temperature was in the 50s.
It was exactly 5:27 in the morning when I heard the doorbell ring.
A single mother at home with her daughter was the first and only person to open the door.
I just knew they were kids right away, so I quickly opened the door. I told them to come in, and I quickly shut the door and I locked it.
The woman, who asked that we not use her name or show her face, says she led the twins to her kitchen.
I sat them down, I brought them blankets, covered them up. The first thing the little boy said was, "We're starving." Basically, we're saying, like, "We're hungry, you're gonna give me something to eat."
Looking at the 16-year-olds, it was obvious. After getting them something to eat, she started asking questions.
When the little girl was here standing, she was visibly shaking and was showing me her handcuffs. They would say, "We just broke out of these." They told me that their mom kept them locked in the laundry room, naked, zip tied from the ankles and handcuffed from the wrist. They said we would pee and poop on ourselves. And they said when we needed to bathe, the mom would let them use the dirty mop water to bathe. They didn't get a bath, they got dirty mop water.
It turned out Duncan had been arrested for child abuse in the past in Louisiana. Court documents show her children were removed from the home back in 2012. We asked Louisiana's Department of Children and Family Services why the kids were returned, but they told us state law prevents the agency from even acknowledging an investigation.
How can a mother do this to their kids? You know, how can a mother feel like this is okay to do? They deserve it. No kid deserves this.
We spoke with psychologist Dr. Whitney Krausen with Houston's Children's Assessment Center. She says children who suffer this kind of abuse can recover with the proper help.
Oftentimes we think there's no way they can possibly get through all of this, but children are so much more resilient than we give them credit for. Really what they need is just ongoing and consistent support.
In Cypress, I'm Matt Doherty, KHAY 11 News.
Twins showed up on a neighbor's doorstep begging for help. Morgan Norwood has more on their escape.
You're looking at the moment of desperation. Two teens going door to door, begging for someone to help after police say they escaped their home where they were being held captive. Their frantic pleas captured by a doorbell video camera. The two teens are twins, and on their arms, signs they both had been handcuffed. They show up to their neighbor's front door, one barefoot, the other shirtless, both explaining the abuse they say they endured. The neighbor wants to remain anonymous.
They were saying that they had just gotten here from Baton Rouge, I think they said. That they just moved here and that their mom didn't disclose the address to them, and so they didn't know where they lived.
5:30 Tuesday morning, the woman takes the teens in, feeding them, giving them blankets. The brother and sister telling her they hadn't eaten in more than a week, and they had unsuccessfully tried to escape the day before.
But she got caught, and her mom beat her, hit her in the head.
The siblings saying they had been handcuffed and held captive in the family's laundry room. The handcuff visible in this photo. And these disturbing images showing lacerations on one of their arms and the cuts and scars on their wrist. They allege abuse at the hands of their mother and her boyfriend, who police say took off with their 5 siblings to Baton Rouge, Louisiana after the teens escaped. Law enforcement issuing an Amber Alert for their 5 siblings Tuesday afternoon. The mother, 40-year-old Duncan, and her 27-year-old boyfriend, Jova Terrell, later arrested in Baton Rouge on preliminary charges of assault and continuous violence. Authorities say the 5 children had been found safe. Morgan Norwood, ABC News.
Mom, just have to watch her go. Mom, please. Thank you.
It's not a hoax. It's not a hoax. This isn't kids pulling a prank because we're near Halloween. Can you imagine 5:30 in the morning, someone's banging on your door, you look out and you see these kids, barely dressed, abused, obviously, starving. Look at that kid's wrists. Look at how long cuffs were cutting into that kid's wrists. If not for this good neighbor, and these kids have been knocked on doors. Yes, it was 5 o'clock in the morning. That's very early. But nobody else answered. She did. She has a 10-year-old daughter. Her daughter saw these kids and what they were going through. She couldn't believe they were 16, and neither could I when I saw the pictures. Neither will you when you look at them up close. This good neighbor joins us now. Now, when you see her, she wants to stay kind of blurred because she's afraid of this situation. This is scary. Who knows what happens going forward? And she wants to keep the focus on the kids. I respect it. Thank you very much for talking to us.
No, thank you. Thank you for respecting that. Now,
What did you think when you looked out your door at 5:30 in the morning?
I was honestly terrified because I didn't know what to expect on the other side of the door. But as soon as I heard their little voices, I knew something was going on and it wasn't good.
When you started to look at them and saw, I mean, you're a nurse, you know what injuries look like, you know what pain over time looks like. What did you make of it?
Yeah, there's a lot of shock going on in my mind and, to the whole reaction. So it was just a really hard situation seeing them.
And the kids were telling you a story that had to be hard to believe. Did they describe it like, was it just one of their parents? Was it just the mom? Was it just the boy, the boyfriend? Did they give you any description of who was hurting them?
The only person they mentioned hurting them was the mom. And I didn't ask details
Right.
further than that, but they said my mom kept me in handcuffs. We just broke out of them is the first thing she told me whenever she walked through the door with her brother.
Did they give you any sense of how long this had been going on?
They did not, no, and I didn't ask them. But you could tell by their scars, their bruises, just looking at them, you knew they had been going through this for a long time. I mean, there was no way that just happened overnight. It had happened for a while.
And you were shocked at how hungry they were, right?
I really was. They did say that they hadn't eaten in a week. A week, they said.
And they said that the parent only fed them if they kept absolutely quiet all day or something like that?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.